Hi y'all, this is Eliana with Not Redesign. Happy New Year! Let's get started by doing a quick recap of 2022. How about we start with the good? This cute little desk was a quick surprise for me because I don't do a lot of desk and I don't paint a lot of pink, and with this I went all in. Started by scuff sanding, cleaning everything very well, and then I use one of my favorite colors of all time in one of my favorite paints, Lily Moon paint. If you guys haven't used it, I totally recommend it. This is the color Julia, which is a signature color for her. I also added some transfers on the sides, made it super feminine and girly, and this turned out so beautiful. It was a quick seller for me. I posted it and it sold within 2 days in Facebook Marketplace locally, and the owner loves it. I absolutely did too. Here is a piece that was very unexpected. This cute little tater container is cute, but it doesn't work out for me. So let's put some joint compound, cover up all of those taters, seal it before we paint, and then start doing 2 to 3 coats of the paint on it. The third coat I actually blended to make it all work out. I sanded it down a little bit and then applied a cute transfer and some stamps by reDesign with Prima. I sealed it all again, and this is what it looks like now. This was definitely a cutie that sold on Etsy. I love getting creative with these jewelry boxes. I always start with Slick Stick because it helps adhere the paint very well. I also like using an all-in-one paint for this. In this case, it's Silk by Dixie Belle. I also added molds that I basically created myself and customized them. Added a transfer also for additional customization, and this was a total beauty. She was a hit too. From selling this one on Etsy, the person who bought this specific one actually asked me to do 3 more pieces, and he gifted them all as Mother's Day gifts to his entire family. How cool is that? This one took forever to be finished. Hi guys, in this video I'm gonna show you a little bit of what I went through to restore this beautiful 1800s oak buffet back to its glory. There was a lot of stripping to be done. There were layers and layers of that green paint and another paint underneath, and then also a lot of stain that needed to be removed. It took us about 45 hours total over a period of 2 months. My husband helped a lot, and I appreciate all of his help. I used a lot of paint stripper, a lot of, one was very harsh chemical. And then I also used City Strip because I needed to get into all of the nooks and crannies. Here you see me using even an X-Acto knife because the paint was pretty stubborn to come off. But I had to go all the way to using whatever I could think of to get into those details and remove everything, because I could not leave any of that green left behind, since the idea was to restain the piece, and we didn't want the green paint to show through once we applied a new stain on it. I washed the piece also several times to make sure that all of that residue was removed. I use white lining for that. Here I am showing you how many pieces of 60 grit sanding paper I'm using, and right here I am actually using the white lining to remove some of that stripper off, as well as after wash. I literally ended up washing the wood, and the water was just very nasty, I can tell you. I don't think that when this piece was painted, it was ever intended for that paint to be removed, and I really give my hats off to the person who painted it because they did an amazing job. In some spots, I could not even fully remove the paint inside the cabinet in the very far corner. And my customer knows about that. I told them. Here I am sanding. Here is completely bare, which I was very tempted to leave like that, but we did need to stain it. And those are the four colors that were offered to my customer. We chose the mix of dark walnut, which was a mix of Dixie Belle's walnut and espresso. I allowed it to dry over a period of 72 hours and then top coated it. And then we started to put it back together because we had taken every single part that we could remove, we had taken it apart. So here we are putting it together, gluing everything, stapling everything, nailing everything, adding new screws. Here we are sanding off one of the doors because it wasn't fitting just right. And there it is. Beautiful, newly stained, fully restored, original hardware. And I'm pretty proud of what we did here. Yes, it was a lot of work. Yes, it was definitely more time than we expected, both my customer and I, but it was so worth it. Will I do it again? I'm not sure, but I am sure that if the customer brings me a piece like this, I don't think I can say no to it. At the end, it's just gorgeous. A throwback to reality in my most watched short. Just because we paint furniture doesn't mean we always know exactly what we're going to do with a piece. Take this one for example. I literally tested 4 different colors on it because I had no clue. And when I say no clue, absolutely 100% no clue what to do with it. I knew I wanted a blue, but there are 1,000 shades of blue. So I tested and tested until voila. This is what I came up with. This piece was another hit. Thankfully, it sold for a lot of money. And it went to Kansas. It lives in Kansas now, y'all. Sold in Texas, is living in Kansas. Here's a surprising and total redesign for you. They do say everything is bigger in Texas, and they ain't joking. Take this desk. This mammoth had the most worn out finish I have ever worked on. I used the strongest stripper that I have ever used to work on it. Removed all of that, and literally it took 2 gallons of mineral spirits simply to completely remove that and neutralize that stripper. I then took my sander to it and used, I cannot remember how many sanding discs, but it was a whole bunch. A trick that I did on this was to get the primer tinted in the same color that I was going to use for the paint, and that way I used a little bit less paint, although it wasn't much of a savings, but it does work. I also neutralized the top to remove some of the pink hues that it had, and it turned out absolutely beautiful. My customer loves it, and it lives in a mansion of a home, and is definitely the most beautiful thing in that office. I'm very proud of this job. If we're going to keep it real, let's just say everything doesn't go smoothly. Check this out. Remember that piece right there. Just a set of little cute little nightstands, French provincial, very quick job. That ugly stain that they have is actually not a bleeder, so I went ahead and used a all-in-one paint, so everything is included. Gave them 2 good coats. Because I'm taking these to be sold at my shop, I decide let's go ahead and give them some extra protection and make sure that they have additional top coats. So I took them to the booth, gave them some really good top coat. I actually brought them back out, added additional little fluff stuff to it, like lining the drawers. I put some Big Mama's butter on it, and then they start ghosting that little space. Remember that? Yeah, it started giving me a hard time. It took 3 different rounds of additional bundle to get that out, but they didn't win. I did. I am staging them, and they look absolutely gorgeous. After I took them to my shop, it only took 48 hours, and they were sold. There's no ghosting on there anymore either. But here's a different situation. Yeah, we can paint MDF, it's not a big deal. I started on this set by, like I usually do, cleaning and scuff sanding and priming, and then the primer started to peel and pull off. And I had done everything that I know how to do, but the more that I came back and did, the more problems that it started happening. So the primer basically went into the MDF and made it bubble. So I had to sand and sand and sand some more until basically I got it back down to where I had already sanded, which the idea was not to have peeled off all the pink because I didn't want to have the MDF completely bare. All I did was scuff sand it and then use my literally the primer that I go to almost every single time, which is the Bin Sizzler, which it really attaches to anything and everything, including metal and MDF. I have never had any problems with this. I think the problem was with this headboard. It kept giving me problems. I ended up actually using stripper and taking as much off of that pink as possible, then allowing the piece to dry for several hours before I came back and added more primer to this. I ended up using 3 different kinds of primer just to seal that MDF that you guys see right there. What I get at is I was very upset because when I was talking to my customer and showing my customer what was happening, my customer said that they sold her this piece at a very known retail store, a big box store, and told her the pieces were 100% wood. Please, people, don't let them lie to you. Most everything right now is made out of some composite and has maybe a veneer on top. This one didn't even have veneer, but luckily I was able to fix it. The bed looks absolutely beautiful. The nightstand looked beautiful too. I'm not showing you that on here, but you saw it at the beginning, and thank God I was done. Here are some very fancy pieces. I love doing this. All of these pieces that are in this series, or most of them, not the ones at the end with the glazing, but everything that you're gonna see in a dark gray with metallic is for the same customer. She loves gray, she loves metallic, she is all of that, and she lives in a beautiful, beautiful home, and these pieces actually look amazing in that home. I have done I believe 5 or 6 pieces for her and some pieces for her mom, and these were so much fun. So I started as usual cleaning, priming, and then I added a custom gray that she chose. Then we added a lot of metallics. For the metallics, I am using all gilding waxes from Dixie Belle, and I literally use every single color that they have available. I mix them on the table. As you will see, they have different hues, and this is exactly what she wanted because the chairs, and I wish I had a picture of it, but the chairs that were used with the table have all different colors, so it looks pretty cool. This entry table is also very fancy, and it has metallic gold and silver that makes it look so cool. This is the table. It had 2 additional leaves. I'm not showing it with the leaves right now, but it looked absolutely beautiful. And then here's a bar, and it all just looks amazing. On this one, I did glazing, which is one of my favorite things to do as well. And again, huge pieces. This is a bedroom set. The bed alone took me days to paint it, prep it, prime, paint. This is going over very light, almost white gray, and the glaze color is in black, so it definitely pops on all of those details. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece. Here I show it all put together in my booth because I could not physically move it out of the booth, but look at all of those details. It is simply so pretty. This is one of the beautiful dressers that went with it. This is the additional dresser, and there was a mirror on top, and the mirror was so heavy I could not lift it on my own. So tell me what you guys want to see in 2023. Leave me a comment with your suggestion. I love to hear back from you. Again, thank you for a wonderful 2022. Make sure that you subscribe, turn on notifications, and I will see you again next week. Bye.